want to learn something new about one of the candidates that I like, there's, 5 candidates. I like John Robert Drake. I like Joel Ventresca. I like David Moore, Michael Loebs, Dan Kapelovitz. A little bit of Angeline. I'm kind of getting off my Angeline kick, as the days start to wane. But those 5, John Robert Drake, Joel Ventresca, David Moore, Michael Loebs, Dan Kapelovitz. I like all of them. So I wouldn't be mad at you if you voted for, any of the ones that I didn't vote for number 1. I did say Joel Ventresca was number 1, but now I'm feeling that John Robert Drake is number 1. And so, like I said, David Moore, the Trotsky, Michael Loebs, the hardcore Californian, Dan Kapelovitz, the Green Party bro, the Can You Dig It? Can you dig it, Green Party bro? Yeah, go ahead and vote for them. But now I can't make a distinction between Joel Ventresca and John Robert Drake. I like them both, so I'm just going to tell you to vote for both of them. Okay, California, you got 2 great progressives, and both of them would be incredible governors for the state of California. California had an Armenian. There was an Armenian who was governor at one point in time, and then Paffrath he's an immigrant from some European nation. So this is all about John Robert Drake. So let's listen to John Robert Drake. We're going to break down his platform. We're going to compare and contrast it with Joel Ventresca. What are these 2? Why do I like these 2 guys? They're okay as, individuals, but they're progressive. They're super duper progressives. I like their ideas. I like their platform. I like the vision that they, are painting for me when I hear about the direction that they want California to go. So let's listen to John Robert Drake. This is going to be about Larry Elder and about Kevin Paffrath, I guess his 2 biggest competitors, right? So this one, maybe Larry Elder?
Come back.
Yeah, don't you ever come back.
yeah, don't Texas my California.
He just said, don't Texas my California. That's in response to Kevin Paffrath. That's in response to Kevin Paffrath, send Californians back to California. And he's like, nah, just don't Texas my California. If you left, you didn't want to be California, fine. You're not California, then you stay out of California. So don't Texas my California is his response to send Californians back to California. John Robert Drake, California, pay attention. Larry Elder, any comments about him? I mean, Kevin Paffrath is, disappointing because he's a right-winger running as a Democrat, but right-wingers running as a right-winger is just as, frightening, I think.
Yeah, so Larry Elder is 100% a token, and he knows that he's being used as a token. And
he just said that he's a token. John Robert Drake just said that Larry Elder is a token. Well, that don't sound nice. I'm pissed off. Well, what the hell does he mean by that? Token means, it's a South Park term. It means that you're, the one black face in a sea of white, so you're kind of held up on a pedestal. And he's going to explain further what he means by that, but that's, it's not a South Park term, but South Park helped to popularize it. So he's saying, there's a character on South Park called Token, and so, yeah, it's the one blackface that the Republican Party, invites to their Klan meetings, to their white supremacist meetings, so that way they don't look like, they're racist pieces of shit.
And he loves it. And I have no respect for him as a human being. He's 100% a sellout. And you know why I'm not afraid to say it? It's because he literally plays into...
He says that he's a sellout. He says he's got no respect for him as a human being. Tim Black don't have respect for him as a human being. Rome from the Fred Hampton leftist, he doesn't have any respect. He inadvertently was criticized. He didn't know he was talking about... He did know Larry Elder. I did tell him. I don't know if he knew. Anyways.
To what white supremacists want him to say. When you defend slave owners, when you defend fucking slave owners, then I have no respect for you.
It's almost racist to not criticize a person that's kind of, just because you're black, is that supposed to keep you immune from the racist crap coming out of your mouth?
Yeah, exactly. Like what?
No, exactly. Did you hear what he just said? He said, what an asshole. So he said Larry Elder is an asshole. He doesn't respect him as a human being. He says that he's being used as a token. He's a sellout. He's happy to be a sellout. He's happy to be used as a token for the white supremacists I guess, Republican Party, or maybe just white supremacy in general. So yeah, those are the comments John Robert Drake has about Larry Elder. Here are the comments that John Robert Drake has about Kevin Paffrath. He's recalled, so essentially you don't have anything to lose by voting for the second question. So yeah, Kevin Paffrath is he's like number 2 in the alternative. So you got Larry Elder's like polling in the 20s, and then Paffrath is right up there at like 9, about 8 or 9 points.
And he isn't even a Democrat. He isn't even a Democrat. The only reason why, he's a mainstream candidate was because the mainstream media said he was, and so that pushed him to the front line of everything. And that's the reason why people are voting for him, is because he has name recognition. People actually knew his policies, and if they heard my policies compared to his, I'd 100% get their vote.
So you'd be totally up for a debate,
100%.
If Kevin Paffrath wanted to debate. So there you go, Kevin Paffrath. There you go, Kevin Paffrath. He wants to debate you. He wants to debate you. John Robert Drake is up for a debate anytime, any place, any moment. You pick the venue, you pick the questions. He's ready. He's ready to talk to you because he doesn't think you're a real Democrat. So John Robert Drake wants to debate Kevin Paffrath. Let's see if Paffrath, picks him up. It would be a great conversation between just, 2 of the leading Democratic opponents. I think that'd be a great conversation. And so there you go, Kevin Paffrath. Meet Kevin. You have been called out. Kevin, you've been called out. You need to, you're going to debate John Robert Drake or not, okay? Kevin Paffrath, you've been called out. So, yeah, Elder, what an asshole, huh? Elder, what an asshole. What does he say about... You would be up for a debate, so it's up to him at this point.
Yeah, no, I would debate him 100%. He's from Ventura, where I'm from, and I just discovered that apparently he lives 5 minutes away from me. Wow,
and you have landlord issues, like you. And then I kind of go on and on and on, little monologue there. You're supposed to be the question guy, not the talking guy. Anyways, this is more about Kevin Paffrath. John Robert Drake on Kevin Paffrath system. So why would he change any of it to be better, to benefit anybody else?
No. I totally agree with you on that. It's people like to always tell me, well, he's from the middle class, so he totally understands and totally can help the middle class. The problem that we see time and time again is when these people from the middle class end up becoming rich.
Yeah, he used to be middle class.
Yeah. They don't make things easier. They don't make things easier for people trying to make wealth. In fact, they actually make it harder because now they're trying to protect that wealth. And Kevin Paffrath is no different. He also, I trusted John F. Kennedy because he was not only humble, but I could definitely tell.
So you're going to say that John F. Kennedy was genuine, whereas Kevin Paffrath is not genuine. He doesn't really give a shit about you or me or anybody else. Okay, so there you go. We got the, John Robert Drake's comments on Larry Elder and his comments on Kevin Paffrath, the two leading, his 2 leading opponents. And now let's compare and contrast the platform planks of Joel Ventresca and John Robert Drake. So Joel Ventresca, he's opposed to Angeline's releasing the Otters plan, which that's smart, actually. Anti-war on drugs. He's opposed to the war on drugs. Everybody seems to be against the war on drugs. There's nobody that's saying, you know what, we need to crack down on drugs. We need to really get this war on drugs kicking. And so Joel Ventresca is opposed to the war on drugs, just like Gavin Newsom, just like Larry Elder. Both Larry Elder and Gavin Newsom are opposed to the war on drugs, but so is Joel Ventresca, so is John Robert Drake. Joel Ventresca is in favor of he's in favor of public finance elections. He's in favor of universal health care and education for all Californians from the cradle to the grave. He's opposed to school choice. He's in favor of the Finland model for education. He's in favor of high-speed rail. He's in favor of instant runoff voting, ranked choice voting, ranked elections. He's in favor of a pilot program for universal basic income for at least 1,000 California citizens. He wants to ban lobbyists, ban all private money in local, state, and federal elections. He's opposed to crime. He's in favor of $16 an hour minimum wage and he wants to give small businesses $3 to cover the $16 minimum wage hike. The top 4 priorities of a Joel Ventresca administration would be to stop mass incarceration. You got 100,000 in jail right now. Number 2, stop the war on drugs. Number 3, stop homelessness. And number 4, stop poverty. And the top 3 things for John Robert Drake is housing, education, and health care. So compare and contrast, stop mass incarceration, stop the war on drugs, stop homelessness, stop poverty, versus housing program, education program, and health care program, with an emphasis on getting young people into those programs. So he wants to, let's see, pro-net neutrality. Joel Ventresca is pro-net neutrality, pro-equal access to the internet for the rich and poor. Joel Ventresca is a flower child. He grew up in the 1960s. He wants the 1960s to play out. He likes avocados. Everybody likes avocados. Joel Ventresca and John Robert Drake both like avocados. Rent is $4,200 in San Francisco. For John Robert Drake, it's, just under $1,000, but $1,000, a month rent, $4,200. You could be buying land in Colorado for that kind of, fucking cash. On secession, they're both opposed to secession. So Joel Ventresca and John Robert Drake are opposed to secession. Abraham Lincoln said that states have a constitutional mechanism which to enter the Union, to become a state, to become part of the United States of America, but they don't have a constitutional mechanism to leave the Union. So don't even talk about leaving the Union. The Constitution doesn't allow for it. So both Drake and Joel Ventresca are opposed to secession. So do we want to listen to some more? No, let's just keep on rolling. Right? So Joel Ventresca is in favor of public finance elections, but so is John Robert Drake. He's in favor of universal health care and education. And I'm not for sure on education, but John Robert Drake is for universal health care. So all you need is what? Free college. That's the last thing. So maybe, perhaps, right, they're equal on universal health care, equal on public finance elections. Joel Ventresca says education for all Californians from the cradle to the grave. So that's vocation, that's technology, whatever, medical, law school, engineering. He's opposed to school choice. He's in favor of the Finland model for education, pro-high-speed rail. John Robert Drake is opposed to the high-speed rail. They're both in favor of the universal basic income. Okay, let's get on to John Robert Drake. So here's what John Robert Drake is, what he thinks. First of all, before I get into John Robert Drake, I want to mention what he had mentioned. John Robert Drake said that you had to pay $4,000 if you're in California to run for governor. You got to pay $4,000. So the media hasn't been covering the 46 candidates, and every single one of these 46 candidates put $4,000 fucking dollars, down to become the governor. And the media hasn't been saying shit to any of them. And some of these candidates don't even seem like they want to talk to anybody else. They paid $4,000. Anyways, he was complaining that he wanted public finance elections because when you pay $4,000 and then they say, okay, we're going to give you a little paragraph that we send, to everybody in the state of California, but you got to pay $25 per word if you want to get your name and ideas into this paragraph. So John Robert Drake ended up paying $525. The majority of these candidates paid upwards up to $6,000 fucking dollars. So these fucking pricks are, dropping $4,000 to run for governor, and then they're dropping another $6,000 to have a nice, beautiful little paragraph, for the little booklet that gets sent out to everybody. So that's $10,000 fucking dollars. I'm just, I guess if you're running for governor, but who the fuck's got $10,000 fucking dollars? That's a good way to weed a bunch of people out, working class people, right? Don't even think about running for governor. I mean, you could think about it, but you got $10,000 bucks? Well, then quit thinking about it. Go get $10,000 bucks and then start thinking about it, because it won't matter until you get that money. What does John Robert Drake believe? He's a super-duper progressive. He's fantastic, so he's actually a lot more articulate than what I had thought. I'd asked him on Twitter what he had thought, and he kind of gave me a quick little overview. But anybody can kind of just bullshit you. How much do they believe in their ideas? How long have they thought about their ideas? How developed and how strongly do they feel about their ideas, right? You could say, I'm pro-universal health care, but that's not going to be a person that gets us universal health care. They got to be like, yeah, I'm down with universal health care. John Robert Drake is going to get us universal health care. We can force the vote yes on recall, throw Gavin Newsom to the curb, vote for John Robert Drake. Now you got universal health care, California. John Robert Drake is a immigrant. He moved to America as a child, probably California. He said 4 or 5 years of age. What he remembers, not much of all. It's Latvia. So he was born in Latvia, which is the Cold War bloc there, the Eastern Europe, up there by Estonia and Sweden and Finland, Russia. So he doesn't remember any of it, really. He knows a little bit of Latvian. He remembers being made fun of because he didn't know any English, and so public school is fucking brutal. But 15 years of his 20 years on this planet, John Robert Drake has been an American, probably in California. He said, "Don't Texas my California," so he, takes some pride in being a Californian. He's got some nationalism, some Californian nationalism in him. And he's in favor of universal basic income. They're both, Ventresca and Drake is in favor of that. He wants $5,000 a month, though. So John Robert Drake's, UBI is that much bigger than Ventresca's. He's in favor of a jobs program with an emphasis on the high-skilled labor jobs, such as welding, carpentry, and plumbing. I'm not sure if he had a jobs. Ventresca did not have a jobs program. This John Robert Drake is also pro-universal health care, but he wants a mixed private and public system. So I'm not for sure if Ventresca would accept any private. And, it makes me somewhat nervous, but because he's such a super-duper progressive, I'm sure we'll get a public option. So, okay, the insurance companies, yeah, probably, that makes sense, a mixed public and private system, but why rush for the compromise? Anyways, okay, so you have mixed private public system of health care. John Robert Drake is in favor of driver's licenses and health care for immigrants. He's in favor of immigration. He wants people to come to, California. If they get there illegally, he don't want to encourage illegal immigrants, but if they happen to get there, he ain't going to be mad at them. Don't go committing crimes or what have you, but, yeah, he wants, new people, new ideas. He himself is an immigrant. Kevin Paffrath is an immigrant. Gavin Newsom, he looks like he's from Neptune, so, he couldn't be he's got to be an immigrant, too. So you have the family separation policy of Trump. He's opposed to the family separation policy. He's opposed to qualified immunity. He's in favor of funding for the arts. John Robert Drake, pro-funding for the arts, anti-qualified immunity, anti-family separation policy, pro-police decertification bill. He says he's more socialist than capitalist. He's more lefty than right-wing. He's in favor of a people's bank. This is John Robert Drake. John Robert Drake is who we're talking about. He's opposed to school choice. So just like Joel Ventresca, they're opposed to school choice. They want 100% public education. All the money goes to public schools. None of it goes to private schools whatsoever. And he's in favor of the democratization of public schools, teaching how to think and not what to think or something. So pro-police decertification bill, 100% pro-net neutrality, anti-crime, pro-immigration. John Robert Drake, he loves his avocados, just like Joel Ventresca. They both love their avocados. John Robert Drake is paying $950 per month rent in Ventura County. He lives about 5 minutes away from Kevin Paffrath, who's a landlord, and he owns like 50 properties or some shit. Joel Ventresca, he pays $4,200 in rent. He lives in San Francisco. John Robert Drake is okay with the Derek Chauvin verdict. At first, he was against it because he didn't think that it was first-degree murder, but more negligent. It was a negligent murder, not first-degree. The intent wasn't there. He's in favor of the war on poverty, so declare war on poverty. Poverty is some bullshit. They both have, they're both strong advocates to fight against poverty, fight against homelessness. He's in favor of strong unions in private industries. This is John Robert Drake, but he wants to break up the police unions. So break up the police unions. He's not big on public unions, but he's good with strong unions in private industries. John Robert Drake says that California is not a progressive place to live that has great upward mobility. So if you're thinking of moving out to California, it's going to be just like the Okies. It's not a progressive place. It's not good for poor and working class families. California is a place for the wealthy and the upper middle class. It's a Garden of Eden for the oligarchs and the plutocrats. But regular working class folks, it's not, so do not come to California thinking it's going to be this, progressive Garden of Eden, because it is not. It is not a progressive Garden of Eden. If anything, it's the land of plutocrats and oligarchs and fascists. Now, even though he's opposed to fascism, John Robert Drake is anti-fascist, so he can understand the anti-fascist sentiments of Antifa, but he does think that Antifa can go too far because they think that everybody's, is fascist. And that's exactly what a fascist would say. I'm just kidding. John Robert Drake is not a fascist. He's for democracy. He wants ranked choice elections, instant runoff voting. He wants public financed elections. He wants to make it, the barriers to entry lower so people can, if you run for goddamn governor, you should be allowed to put your, a fucking paragraph. You paid $4,000 fucking dollars. Now you got to pay $6,000 just to put a paragraph into the thing. So people are saying that he's not taking it serious, but you know what? He's taking it more serious. He had to pay $525 for the, 12 words that he, put in the damn. So he's in favor of raising taxes. He's opposed to punching Nazis. He loves free speech. He's opposed to, he's not Antifa. He's in favor of the anti-fascist sentiments of Antifa, but he thinks that Antifa could go too far. He's in favor of decriminalization or legalization, full-blown legalization of prostitution. John Robert Drake is opposed to fracking. John Robert Drake is in favor of drilling oil. John Robert Drake is in favor of California having banned their plastic straws and their plastic bags. But he also sees that 80% of the electricity comes from coal and oil. So, you're doing a bunch of, you're attacking the symptoms, but you're not attacking the root cause of the disease. John Robert Drake is in favor of decriminalizing all drugs, just like Gavin Newsom, Larry Elder, Joel Ventresca. They all agree. So a bunch of fucking druggies, huh? Goddamn surfer dudes over there. Bunch of surfer hangtin', bunch of goddamn heroin addicts. Probably got needles all over the goddamn beaches. Anti-corporate personhood, same as Lobes. John Robert Drake, he don't think that a corporate, corporation is a person. John Robert Drake, he is in favor of critical race theory. He's in favor of reparations. He is opposed to high-speed rail. He is in favor of nuclear power, and he's in favor of breaking up the police unions. Joel Ventresca, he's for high-speed rail. So it'd be interesting to see the distinction. Why is Joel Ventresca for high-speed rail, and why is John Robert Drake opposed to high-speed rail? And yes to nuclear power, I'm okay with that, but I'm wondering, I bet you some people might think, what's up with that? But you know what? You got to get energy. You got to think outside the damn box. And, Jesus Christ, we're trying to get off of oil and coal or not. So he's for public finance elections. He's anti-fascist. He's not Antifa. He's for prostitution. He's for legalizing or decriminalizing drugs, legalizing prostitution. He is for breaking up police unions. He's in favor of nuclear power. He's in favor of reparations and critical race theory. He's against corporate personhood. He's against fracking, but he's in favor of drilling oil. So he's okay with drilling oil, right? You need your oil and your coal for your electricity. He's opposed to high-speed rail. Ventresca's for high-speed rail. Larry Elder is opposed to reparations and critical race theory. John Robert Drake is in favor of these things. John Robert Drake's in favor of net neutrality, 100%. He's opposed to crime, pro-immigration, loves avocados. Okay with the Derek Chauvin verdict. Sees that California is not a progressive place that has great upward mobility. So he's sticking it out because he's a true blue Californian, and he's going to stick it out and fight to make California a better place for regular working class folks. John Robert Drake wants instant runoff voting, ranked choice, elections. He's in favor of public finance elections. He's against fascism. He's kind of no on school choice, 100% public education, in favor of democratization of public schools. He don't Texas is California, he says. He's in favor of universal basic income, $5,000 a month. He's in favor of a jobs program with an emphasis on high-skilled labor jobs such as welding, carpentry, and plumbing. He's in favor of universal health care, mixed private and public system, in favor of driver's license and health care for immigrants. He's opposed to Trump and Stephen Miller's family separation policy. He's against the qualified immunity for cops. He's in favor of funding for the arts. He's for the police decertification bill that's on Gavin Newsom's desk right now. He's more socialist than he's a capitalist, more lefty than right-wing. He's in favor of a people's bank, no on school choice. Just like Joel Ventresca, they're both no on school choice. So they're very protective of public education, which, I get. But where do I get freedom and democracy? Only Sudbury Model Schools is going to give me the freedom and democracy kind of school that I want my child to have. So don't I get to educate my kid the way I want my kid to be educated? Don't I have a choice? Don't I have a say-so in that? But I digress. John Robert Drake, fantastic, progressive, shit ton of progressive planks. Yeah, I like them both. I like Ventresca and Drake, for kind of like the opposite reasons, right? One's more experienced, the other one's less experienced. So, yeah, a person with experience, yeah, get in there, pass a ton of bills. Someone with no experience, oh, man, get in there and do whatever the hell they want to do. So, I can see the pros and cons for both of them. That's why I say I'm not a Californian. I don't have to make a decision, so I'm going to vote for both. I vote for John Robert Drake, and I vote for... So it's so fun to say the name, isn't it? John Robert Drake. Isn't it fun to say? Joel Ventresca. Old Vinny. It'd be not just call him Vinny, right? Ventresca Vinny. I bet if he went by Vinny, he'd get elected. Ventresca. Joel. Good old Joel. Joel Ventresca. Or John Robert Drake. So my responsible side says Ventresca. But, there you go, California.